Hi guys! So today's video is a bit different in that I'm not dyeing anybody's hair today actually. We are going to talk about bleaching the hair though of Rainbow High dolls, and I imagine that this very same concept would go for the LOL OMG dolls since they also have nylon hair. I'm going to explain to you how this happened because it wasn't intentional, at least not at first. And we're going to talk about some of the new dolls coming out, and I'm not sure what else. Just roll with me on it. Okay, so first of all, this. When Jet Dawson's preview, like the Rainbow High episode that had like her magazine cover, came out, a lot of the folks that I know were very much like, I had made a joke that I wanted to do my hair like hers, and a lot of the folks on my Instagram were like, you should do it. And I was like, no. Because I used to have like galaxy hair, unicorn hair, tons of different hair colors. I think in like 2017 alone, I was going through a divorce, and I had dyed my hair probably every 2 to 3 weeks. I was bleaching or dyeing my hair for like the entire year. At the start of 2018, a lot of it had like broken off, like I had a lot of damage from like the constant bleaching, and I decided I was never going to put myself through that again because I really want to grow my hair out long, but like I don't really have the patience for it, so like I'm working on that. Sorry, there's a lot of extra noise in here today because okay, so obviously if you're in some of the southern states even, you saw like a lot of ice, a lot of snow from all this storm that had happened. A lot of my family and friends live in Texas, so they had to go with like, 3 and 4 days or longer without electricity, and it's just like freezing cold. They weren't prepared and they didn't know how to handle it. Since I've lived up in Virginia, like I've learned to deal with it better, but like I'm not a fan of cold weather. And neither is my husband's dog. He has a very large coonhound. She is adorable. I'm not even a dog person, but she's a really cute dog. And she does not like the cold, so she's inside today, like in her bed, hanging out. We have like a water bottle there for her, so she doesn't even have to get up and go to the kitchen. So you're gonna hear her eating, drinking, wiggling around, whatever. That's a thing. I don't even know where Sausage is today. Like, he ducked in the closet to get warm and snuggle up on my racks of sweaters and hasn't come back out. So yeah, anyway, so I said I wasn't gonna do it because I just managed to bleach all the black out of my hair. I had it like half brown, half blonde. I worked really hard to get the blonde, and like this side was originally blonde and this side was black back like before. I think like when I first started all the doll YouTube stuff and doll Instagram, and this side had been bleached like so much over like 2 to 3 years that I suffered like a lot of breakage. It's very much like not really the same length or thickness as this side. It's much thinner. Like some of the layers are a bit shorter from breakage. Like it happens. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's not like the best either. So I decided I would flip it and do this side blonde and this side brown, which had been working out really well. I really hadn't suffered a lot of breakage. It was time to kind of freshen it up. And originally I'd done like a 1/4, but because I have like this shagged layered thing, like it looked really choppy. So this past weekend, it was like, or like late last week, I was gonna go back and do like just whole half blonde so it didn't look so choppy and awful. I go to tone it, the toner stains it blue. And at this point, like it's a very, very white blonde and the blue won't come out. And I can't bleach it again. Like even a bleach bath is dicey because, you do it too much and your hair just becomes like gummy, and it's very much like Easter egg grass. So at that point I thought about what all of my wonderful followers on Instagram said and decided to go with Jet Dawson hair. So I've got the whole rainbow going on. The blonde is really hard because like the green and the orange, which is mostly up here, keep wanting to like fade into it, so it's like harder to keep up with. But yeah, and then it goes all the way to the back around with like purple and blue and green again. But yeah, so I ended up with Jet Dawson hair. That's how this happened. It wasn't originally on purpose, and again, partly not only just because of the bleaching and dyeing, but so these aren't all going to fade at the same time. The red having different sized molecules than the blues and greens, this is going to fade a lot faster. There's a lot more involved upkeep. It's very hard to see to upkeep and like do the back of my head without risking the colors blending and getting muddy. Honestly, it's a billion times easier to do doll hair than to do my own hair because I can't see the back of my head. I'm not one of those ask for help types. I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to do it myself, and if it gets messed up, then I can only blame me. So it wasn't what I wanted. I did add some shadow roots. I did throw that down just so that like as it grows out, it's not so bad and I don't have to keep up with like bleaching my roots, retouching colors, whatever. But yeah. So that's how I ended up with Jet Dawson hair. Now, our doll hair experiment this week was the exact opposite. Instead of dyeing, we were going to see if bleach worked, because even though I did this experiment before, I had come to the conclusion that like it didn't work, it didn't do anything. I didn't film it. And this time I actually did something different by not only using both bleaches, but leaving them on for a much longer period of time. I think last time I left them on like, I don't even remember. It wasn't terribly long. Like, it was long enough to see that nothing was going to happen. So, we'll cut to that right quick, and then, yeah, like, it's a surprise. So, I get asked a lot, does bleach affect Rainbow High hair? I can't really film myself right now because I'm doing my own hair, but I've got two chunks of hair here that are from a dyed Avery. I've got some Garnier Nutrice Ultra Color and some low splash, like great value Walmart brand like clothing bleach, and we are going to put it on this hair and see if anything happens. I did this experiment once before, but I only left it on for a few minutes and it didn't really do anything, but I'd forgotten to film it. Like, I really didn't think about it, so we're gonna do it now, but on camera, so that all those people who have that question will know for sure. Okay, so this side is coated in the Garnier Nutrice Ultra Color Advanced, like lightest platinum advanced lighting cream hair bleach for humans. This side is coated in the Great Value lavender scented low splash bleach. And it is, you know, like I'm just now starting to do my hair. It's like 8:30 in the morning. We're gonna leave it on there for like a half an hour and see if anything happens. Okay, well, it's been an hour. So we're gonna rinse it out and see what happens. Okay, so after an hour, I can honestly say nothing happened. Like, this is the side from the human hair bleach. There's no lightening, no melting, no nothing. And this is the side from the clothing bleach, and again, it didn't melt, it didn't lighten, it didn't do anything. So, experiment concluded, neither bleach does anything to Rainbow High doll hair. Okay, so as you see, I left it on for like an hour, probably over an hour. Nothing happened. It didn't melt, it didn't become sticky, it didn't do anything. Like, I was really surprised because like bleach is really, really harsh. Even hair bleach is a very strong chemical, and nothing happened. So, I don't know. I don't at this point, I'm gonna have to say, like, there is no way to lighten your doll's hair unless you're just going to undo everything and reroot it. It's not gonna happen for you. Sorry, I'm trying to stay warm. I mean, my house is warm, but like I tend to run really cold because like all the chronic illness and whatever. Like, I have a really hard time just trying to keep my body temperature up, and like I get cold really easily. So I just have to like be like heavily bundled, keep a heating pad on, like warm drinks nearby, whatever. Anyway, so you've seen the bleaching, nothing happens. You've heard the crazy story about my hair. Other than that, I feel really bad because I missed making a video last week, but, and I know I've talked about this before, so most people know that before I retired back in October, I was, you know, a hairstylist, makeup artist, body painter, photographer, like wardrobe designer, stylist, all of it, on photo shoots. And when I retired, I think that like my only real regret was that there was like a handful of people that I'd wanted to photograph and I never ever got the chance to. I had a friend who came up from out of state over the weekend, and we did like a very small shoot. We kind of had to stagger everybody so that we had time to like disinfect the room in between models, but it was 4 models over 2 days, which honestly is not that much. Like, I'm used to like styling and shooting like 12 to 14 models in a day, like in a 12-hour period. So this, it wasn't that it was hard, but it's that part of the reason I retired was because of health problems, particularly vision problems that I suffered from wearing Korean circle lenses like on a daily basis every day, 10, 12, 14 hours, like as long as I was awake, they were in. And so it caused like this problem where the veins in my eyes were like encroaching into my cornea, or like the colored section, and they were causing like vision loss, double vision. Like I have permanent double vision in my left eye, it seems. And so I thought I was never going to be able to wear contacts again. I worked with my eye doctor. I can wear contacts, but it has to be the much thinner, like American ones. I can't wear like the fancy costume ones anymore. And if I do, it's got to be like, do whatever makeup, whatever I'm going to do, pop them in, shoot it, whatever, take them immediately right back out. And even then it can be really hard. Like I have to use these very expensive eye drops in between, all kinds of crazy stuff. Plus, like I said, I suffer from like multiple chronic pain ailments. Every 6 weeks I go and I get like these trigger point injections, which are like really long needles filled with an anti-inflammatory, like 10 to 12 shots in my back every 6 weeks, just to have like some quality of life where I'm not in pain. I'm also on like a lot of pain pills and muscle relaxers and anti-inflammatory pills for the arthritis and stuff, like tons of medications, all of it. So it's gotten to the point where it was getting very hard to work anyway. After 10 years in this career, I found myself like getting tired really easily, because what most people don't see is, okay, so I spend like the entire week packing everything up, designing things, drawing things, laying out mood boards, contacting models, you know, setting everything up. Sometimes it's more than a week, like if it's big shoots, sometimes it can be like an entire month ahead of time. And then I have to carry everything to wherever I'm shooting, studio, hotel room, whatever, unpack everything, lay it all out, then do all of the work, you know, have the model show up, make sure I'm staying in contact, they show up on time, dressing them, doing hair and makeup, body painting, whatever. And then even after I've shot for an entire day, I have to clean all of this stuff up, wash like a billion makeup brushes, pack everything, drive home. Some days I'm too tired to even carry the stuff in from my car, but in this weather, like I have to. You know, hang up all the wardrobe back on the clothing racks if after it's been cleaned, I'd have to clean it. Just putting everything away. And then that's when the real work begins, because I have to open up my laptop and sit there and like Photoshop or edit, whatever, retouch, you know, however many photos. So I have to go through like thousands of, hundreds, thousands, depending on how many people have shot, like hundreds and hundreds of photos, pick out just the ones I want to use, then go in and retouch them all, then send them to clients, and that takes like weeks worth of work on just like a full day shoot. So when I retired, it was really because it was becoming overwhelming, and I'm glad that I retired, but I'm also glad that I did this shoot this past week, because even though it meant I had to take time away from you guys, and I missed you, I missed my dolls, but I felt better knowing that like I had no regrets now. Like I've photographed the people that I really had wanted to photograph before I retired. I got to do some of the concepts I had wanted to do, not all of them, but whatever. And it's the weird thing, right? Because like I wish that I could put that same energy into my dolls, like doing their hair, doing their makeup, setting up backdrops, posing them, taking photos, going in and editing them and retouching them and then posting them, because there are some really brilliant doll photographers out there. There are, you know, people who take the time and they make dioramas and backdrops and entire like rooms worth of like furniture and all this neat stuff to pose their dolls with. Like these people are brilliant, and they go in and they edit the photos. I don't really like the overly retouched doll photos where it does look very, very fake, just because I think that it keeps me from being able to see what the doll actually looks like. But you know, they'll go in and like smooth out all the hair and do like all this Photoshop stuff, and honestly I don't want to do that with dolls. Like it ruined photography for me forever ago. Like I've been burnt out for so long, burnt out for years before I actually retired, because it just makes it all a drag, and I don't want to do that with doll stuff. So anytime you see stuff on my Instagram, my doll photos, they're like, I took this with my cell phone and I edited it with a phone app, and like that's all it is. So I will say that like I will try to link some accounts down below of some of the doll photographers that I really admire and whose pictures I really, really love. Because trying to think of them all off the top of my head is really hard right now, and I don't want to like leave anybody out because there are a lot of really good ones. But I'll link some of like my favorite ones below. Yeah, I was trying to think of like, I feel like having skipped that week, I have a lot to say, but I don't know if any of it's important. Feel free to skip through because like nobody cares why I dyed my hair or what I do at my job. Yeah, I've done some more eye swaps that I'd done, which was really what I was going to make a video about last week, so I guess it wasn't like that critical that I missed a week. Oh, and I was going to talk about, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, so I was going to talk about the Barbie extra doll that I got, but I've already since redressed her and it doesn't even matter anymore. I will say this, I haven't been a Barbie girl in a very long time. Growing up, my grandmother was a doll artist, and she created her own handmade dolls. She had grown up in the Depression as a child and not had dolls, so learning to make them was a very big deal to her. Watching her sew clothes for them and make them was a very big deal to me. I collected like a ton of Barbies. I had my mom's Barbies from like the 60s and 70s. I had like tons of Barbies from the 80s because I was born in 80, Gen X. I'm really old. I'm like 40. So like I've had Barbies from since before a bunch of you were born. But so I had like just tons and tons of Barbies, gem dolls, strawberry shortcake, My Little Pony, tons of 80s toys that were very popular. She-Ra, Lady Lovely Locks, like just so many different styles of dolls. Rose Petal Place, I don't even know if you guys remember some of these, but when I was married to my first husband, when we had our kids, we moved into an apartment and we put a lot of our stuff in storage. I put all of my dolls in bins with like big blankets in between the layers of them, and then on top of them I had like a couple of blankets just so they wouldn't bounce around. And so when my husband was going through totes, like we were cleaning out our storage before we moved to like Virginia, where we live now because we used to live in Texas, he just like he opened the lid and he just saw like a bunch of like old blankets. He threw all the totes away. When he came home and we were talking about it, I realized what had happened. We went back to storage and they were all gone, and oh my goodness, it was awful. It was really, really like traumatic for me, especially my gem dolls, because I loved Gem and the Holograms. Like I wanted to be one of the misfits as a kid. I was always into the villain. When it came to She-Ra, I loved Catra. When it came to, you know, Rainbow Bright, I can't even remember what the dark-haired girl's name was. Oh, and Lady Lovely Locks, Lady Raven Locks or whatever. Loved her. Like I always rooted for the bad guy as a kid. I always thought they were just much cooler looking because they had cooler hair colors or cooler clothes or just, you know, just cooler attitudes. Like, I don't know. I was always rooting for the bad guys. So losing all of my dolls was really hard. And when I got back into collecting dolls, like probably a year or two later, a friend of mine had sent me some pictures of some BJDs, and I knew I couldn't afford those after researching them, but I found Pulips. Like I told you before, got into those, got into, you know, Takara Jenny and Lika Chan and a lot of Asian produced dolls. And then eventually, like, I'd sold my dolls, went to college, came back, got back into doll stuff like years and years later. So we're looking at like 2010, 2011, discovered Monster High pretty early on, then Ever After High and Bratzilla's and, you know, all of these other great doll lines. And somewhere in between there were some like some Flava dolls that I would pick up for their clothes for my Pulips, or like Hi Puffy Ami Yumi dolls. Just all of these dolls that had like really great clothes that happened to fit Pulips. So, I mean, there was that. And then Pulip had all these offshoots. They had like Dal and Buell and Namu and Taeyang and all of those kinds of dolls. And there were Obitsu dolls, which were like another, like, kind of, I think, Asian produced ball joint type doll. So, you know, I collected all of those. I never ever got back into Barbie. Like, all of those years later, after childhood, like, she became so bland after finding Pulip. I mean, she lacked the articulation that they had, and I was like, I'm such a huge anime stan, so like she didn't have like that big head, big eyes anime vibe to her that like Pulips and all of those other cool dolls had. And even with Monster High, they had that articulation, they had that kind of anime face, like the slightly larger head, and I just like that better. Like, Barbie's proportions have always put me off. I never really got into Bratz, but I bought them a lot for their clothes. But I didn't, like, I liked the aesthetic, I just didn't like the pop-off feet, like I've said before. I did kind of get into Mycene for a while because, again, they had slightly larger heads, slightly kind of more anime-type features. And so, of course, when LOL OMG came out, like, because I'd gotten really sad when Monster High went into the reboot and was eventually canceled. Mattel does not listen to consumers. You can tell Mattel all day long, like, this is what we want to spend our money on, and they're convinced that only 6-year-olds buy their products. 6-year-olds don't have jobs. 6-year-olds' parents buy your products, but even then, like, not everything has to be, even at Playline, the cheapest, crappiest possible option, Mattel. You can have nice stuff and still have it be for kids. I don't understand that mentality of people being like, well, it's Playline. It's okay if it's defective or sloppy. Do you have kids? Do you hate them? Like, why do you feel that way? Ask yourself that, because if it's for my kids, I'm going to spend so much more money on it, and I want it to be more perfect than if it were for me. For me, I mean, like, it is what it is. If it's a little off, I'll fix it. I'm an artist, that's what I do. Not everybody wants to have to go through that, but, like, it is what it is. If it's for my kids, it better be, like, straight up awesome right out the box. I don't want my kids to open the box and be like, oh, I'm disappointed. This doll has smudged makeup, or its hair's falling out, or it has 2 left hands, feet, whatever. Stop that. I don't like it from MGA. I don't like it from Mattel. I don't like it from any of the doll companies. Stop saying that because something is Playline, it's okay if it's crappy. But anyway, we're not even going to go on that rant again, because... Okay, so, of course, I got into OMG and Rainbow High. They do have kind of those very, like, fashionable anime aesthetics with the rainbow-colored hair and the big eyes and the cool clothes. And let me tell you, so OMG just released a dance line. They have a new, darker skin tone in the doll Rituel that is very much like, I think it was Felicia from Bratz. Really, really pretty. Everybody hates on Major Lady. I don't care, y'all. I'm standing her. She's my favorite. I definitely like, I guess it's like the Royal Heine or whatever her name is, the one with the Marie Antoinette vibe. I like her. One of the shoots I actually just did this weekend that the model helped with all the styling. Like, he designed his wardrobe and brought it with him, but I did like the makeup and the hair for it and the photos. Was a Rococo inspired, like, fashion piece. I really love that vibe. I'm all about it. I'm looking forward to really all 4 of the dance dolls because I have all of the OMG dolls. I plan on continuing that. The new Sweet and Spicy Babe dolls that are coming out, gorgeous. People are already finding these in Walmarts in, like, California and some other places. I've already checked my Walmart, nothing yet, but hopefully soon. Also, stained hands, because I cannot dye anything and not make a mess. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I really am looking forward to Series 3 Rainbow High. We've talked about some of the colors coming out. I don't know how I feel about the re-release of Bratz. I don't know if I'll buy them or not. Again, like, I just don't like the pop-off feet. I'm never going to be... Which is why I loved Bratzilla's, but didn't like Bratz. I don't know. Also, the proportions being, you know, slightly different helped. But I don't know if I'll buy Bratz. If nothing else, I might buy them for their clothes, depending on what else is out at the time and what else my money is going towards. But... Barbie. Never got back into Barbie. Finally picked up a Barbie Extra because they're articulated and they're kind of cute. I don't know how I feel about how their faces are printed on, but it's not, like, terrible. Like, I don't hate it. I like the colorful hair. I like the colorful, interesting clothes. I like the articulation. I don't understand the little car with the stupid little animals that come with it. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Throw it away is what I'm supposed to do with that. I'm not big on the sunglasses or the tacky little purses, but I do love the clothes, the shoes, the hair. The faces don't really bother me. So I am trying to hurry up and finish getting the rest of the Barbie Extra dolls. Hopefully in my next video I'll be able to, like, unbox one for you guys and kind of show you why I think they're okay. I'm not really big on throwing money back towards Mattel after they ruined Monster High, my beloved. And canceled Ever After High, which honestly was really great. I mean, they kind of ruined it when they swapped this show. Princesses are powerful. show up, who cares? And they never really concluded with that whole Royals versus Rebels thing either. I really hope that Rainbow High does better with their show. I don't hate their show now. Like, I'm actually really interested in it. I was glad in this last episode, spoiler alert, that Violet got her comeuppance of being a huge jerk. I hate that Jade and Ruby had to stoop that low to prove to her that, like, social media is not the be-all end-all. If you're using social media in a hurtful way to other people, you're kind of a jerk. And I honestly cannot stand everybody being like, well, it's her job. Okay? So her job is being crappy to her friends. No. Her job can be reporting interesting things without humiliating people. Surprise. You can be on social media and not be a jerk and not humiliate people and not, I mean, and your friends, no less. First of all, if I were Bella, like, I would not be that girl's friend, because if she will do that to you once, she'll do it to you again, because that's how the real world works. But I also remember these are teenage characters. They're not adults. They don't have the same world experience that adults have. I do keep that in mind, and I do hope that Violet evolves and gets better. But I think that her doing a silly, like, chicken dance or whatever, Fortnite dance, say-so dance, whatever it was that they were doing, I don't even remember. But I think that her doing an embarrassing dance in a video that went viral is not nearly as humiliating as what she did to Bella. It is apples and oranges. I think that it's sad that anybody had to do that to get her to understand that what she did was a jerk move, but again, she's a teenager, so I don't know. That's my thoughts on the episode. I do wish that the episodes were longer. Waiting every 2 weeks for a 5-minute episode is kind of rough. Oh, and they showed that the creator said that the new ice color was not going to be Aiden. So it looks like we may not get an Aiden doll unless it's in a collector set with Ainsley, at least not in Series 3, which makes me really sad. Like, they need to hurry up. Which makes me wonder if we'll get any of the background characters, if they're not going to do the main ones. But Mattel did that too. Like, we never got a Johnny Spirit doll, or dolls that actually kind of had parts, but we would get people who just walked down the hallway in the background made into dolls. So, I don't know why doll companies do that. Like, just listen to us and give us what we want. We will give you money. We are happy to give you money. But you have to pay attention. I feel like we're in an abusive relationship with doll companies because we keep giving them what they want and we keep asking for something in return, and they're just like, no. We're going to give you the very least. And, I mean, I shouldn't even say compared to abusive. Abusive relationships are a very, very serious topic. But, I mean, it's similar in the dynamic, or, like, the power dynamic, and that's why I use that term. But I wish there was, like, a better term for what I mean, but I can't think of, like, how else to say it. So please forgive me, because I do think that abusive relationships, having been in them before, are a very serious topic, and I don't want to make light of it by comparing, like, consumers' relationship with doll companies, but I did mean, like, in that power dynamic kind of way. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm gonna save something to talk about next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing that hair bleach just doesn't work. Maybe one day we'll find something, but for now, I think we're just gonna have to stick with hoping that they make light-colored dolls, or dolls with light-colored hair. I can't talk apparently today. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you like the rainbow hair look, because I'm stuck with it for a while. Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff. Peace out.